Hey beauties, let's create a wearable editorial glam, shall we? Okay, so I started off by coating my entire brows with the Revolution eyeshadow concealer in the color Create. I must say, it looked pretty scary in the beginning, but you have to trust the process. Afterwards, I used the spoolie to brush it into my brows and used the toner to clean up the excess. And when I was done, I went back in because I wanted a kind of ombre effect, so I brushed the front part out basically exactly the same way I would do my brows if I was doing my regular makeup. And then I went in with this white pencil. It is the Inner Eye Brightening Pen from Essence. Unfortunately, I did not have the precise name of the color, but as you can see, I used that to outline the outer part of my brows, kind of to make it more straight, or rather for it to stand out. So I carved it with precision as I would do if I was doing my regular brows. And after carving out the shape, I went in and filled in the front part and also the inner parts of the brows. And thereafter, I went in with a setting powder, this specific one being the Laura Mercier setting powder, because remember, the brows are still wet and you need it to be dry. And so after setting it, I went in and carved it, kind of shaped it with my concealer. Now babes, if you've seen any of my other videos, you would know that I usually carve the outer part of my brows with a lighter concealer. But since we're already using a lighter color for our brows, I went in directly with a concealer that is close to my own tone. Carve it out like you usually would doing your regular brows, and as you can see, I went in and it looked so good. And again, remember I told you I wanted that ombre effect on the beginning of the brows, so I went in and cleaned the middle part of the brows and then blended that in, blended some of the concealer and some of the powder into the front part of the brows, and then I went ahead and did the rest of my makeup. Now these brows looked so good. Also, I forgot to show something, but after I blended the front part out, I went back in with a brightening pencil and kind of filled in the gaps again, because sometimes you would see people with blonde hair, if it was not dyed, you would still see kind of like some black streaks in the brows, and I didn't want that, so I kind of went back in with a pencil, and now that it was dry, it actually adhered better. But yes, I went back in and filled it in again to kind of make it look better. And I promise you, you see how good these brows look? Like, people literally thought I bleached my brows. People who saw it before I released the tutorial, people actually thought that I bleached my brows. And it was the funniest things, because I would never. Anyways, I loved how it looked overall, and so I went in and continued the rest of my makeup like I usually would. And baby, we love to underpaint here, so that is exactly what we did. And also, usually I would use an orange blush, but I decided to go with all pink today, so kind of different shades of pink as the blush, and I love how it turned out. So of course, after blending our concealer, our contour and our blush, I went in with our foundation and blended it into the other parts of my face where I had no products. And after that part, I also made sure to blend it into the overall makeup, so everything would be smooth, everything would be nice. And as always, make sure to sandwich your setting spray. Spray before, spray after, spray in between. You know the drill. I absolutely love to underpaint because, again, you use way less products than you usually would, and not only that, it also makes the makeup feel way more lighter on your face, almost as if you do not have anything on your face. I remember when I used to use foundation first before my concealer and other products, after you're done, you will feel like you have makeup on, right? But ever since I started to underpaint, I saw and felt the difference that underpainting made me feel like I had less products on. It would feel light on my face and not too heavy. And I've actually had clients tell me the same thing. And not only does it make it feel light, but it also makes the products come out more beautiful, especially if you're going to be in big lights, in studio lights and stuff like that. Especially when it comes to blush, right? You know, blush, when you're taking pictures, those are the first things that will disappear from your makeup. And so it is very necessary, very important that you layer that. So put your liquid blush on first and then put the powder on top of it, so just so that it can pop when you take the pictures. It will not only pop on pictures, but it will also last longer. Anyways, back to the makeup. For the eyes, I wanted something to match the overall look, to match the eyes. I wanted something nice but not too much and yet fair, if you get what I mean. So I went in with that same Makeup Revolution eyeshadow concealer, the same one I used for the brows, and I primed my eyelids with it, and then went in with a lighter eyeshadow. I first applied the eyeshadow with a powder puff because that makes it more pigmented, whereafter I went in with a brush with that same eyeshadow and topped it off on top of it so that it could, you know, brighten more, and then blended out the edges because, you know, I love my edges well blended and I wanted a sharp but blended wing. So I went in first with a dark eyeshadow and created the wing in the shape that I wanted, and then I blended it out. After blending it out, I blended the whole thing together, you know, to make it more cohesive and well blended. Now I had to make sure that the eyes popped, so I went in with this eye pencil from Essence in the color 29, very fantastic. And then for the inner part, I used that same Essence inner eye brightening pen that I used for the brows. And then I kind of mashed everything together. Now for the lashes, I wanted something that was cat-eyed but fluffy at the same time. So I went in with this one and I absolutely love how it turned out. It was perfect. So after that, I went in with a brightening eyeshadow, a white cream eyeshadow in my inner corners, so it will brighten my eyes even more. Now for the lips, I first outlined it with a lime crime lipstick, which is called Salem, and then outlined it with this dark pencil from Essence. It is a eye pencil actually in the color Hot Chocolate. Then I went in with the Revolution Icon lipstick. Afterwards I topped that off with the 3 lipstick in the shade 501. And then I went in with this lip gloss from Milani in the shade 120 Strawberry Melon. And to tie everything together, I topped everything off with the Essence lip gloss in the color 102 Sweet Dreams, and then set my face with a Kryolan fixing spray. And this, my dear ladies and gentlemen, is the final look. What do we think? That ate, babes. Yes, honey, that definitely ate, and you cannot tell me otherwise, okay? I mean, look at that. Look at the flow. Look how everything flows together. Let me know what you think in the comments, and as always, thank you for watching. Bye.